My name is Cassidy Barlow and I am 22 now. When I had my stillborn daughter, Delilah, I was freshly 18. My first pregnancy ended in a stillbirth at 25 weeks. She was very healthy up until I was about 18 weeks, when I contracted parvovirus, which attacked her placenta, made her anemic, gave her high drops. She just became a very sick little bubba. Then I found that out at 24 weeks, and I was scheduled to be induced to start labor when I was 25 weeks. Being my first baby, it was really tough. I wasn't aware that stillbirth was a thing. I'd only ever heard about miscarriages, early term losses. I never heard about stillbirths until it was happening to me. So it made it a lot harder that I had no idea what I was in for, what I was basically having to do. It was a big shock to the system. I had this amazing social worker who came and explained everything that was going to happen, explained what my options were once I had had my daughter, Delilah. She basically explained that, there was an opportunity for me to have a cuddle cot so I could spend some more time with her. Given that she passed away around 23 weeks, we only got to have less than 24 hours with her before they took her away to do her autopsy. But from the moment that I went in for reduced movements and they told me that she had passed, I had the most incredible support from the social worker, from the hospital. Yeah, they were incredible. I had a doctor come in. He came in and he explained what I would have to go through. He prefaced the conversation by saying, this is going to be very hard to listen to. It's going to be very confronting when you meet your baby, because it's not like a normal birth. I had my son a little under a year after I had Delilah, and he basically just explained, it's not a normal birth. Your baby won't cry when you deliver her, but you will get to spend some time with her before we have to go and do some tests and everything. One of my best friends now, we had only really just started our friendship, and she was the one that actually took me to the hospital. She was like, I don't mess around with reduced movements, like, let's go, let's get you seen. She made the call to my now husband. He was at work, and I had a lot of support from my family, my partner's family. They all came up to the hospital, but it was right as COVID had started, which made things a lot more difficult. I've met some other mums that have had stillbirths, that haven't had any support apart from this Facebook group called Bears of Hope support. It's like a pregnancy and infant loss support group where all over Australia and all over the world really come together, and they talk about their babies when they don't feel comfortable talking about them on their normal social media. I think that's a very important company to be aware of. A lot of my friends from like high school that I'm still friends with, They had no idea what I was talking about when I said, I'm having a funeral instead of a baby shower. So they didn't understand what was going on until I actually sat down with them and explained that, I've just given birth to my baby, but it's not like a normal pregnancy where you get to spend a couple of days in the hospital with your baby and then you get to come home with that baby. It was, I'm leaving the hospital without my baby. I know obviously through COVID that wasn't a possibility, but I just wish that we were able to have our family meet her, and kind of have someone that wasn't us explain what was going on, because my parents didn't even know, like my parents, my partner's parents, they didn't have any idea what we were going through because they'd never heard it before. They'd never heard about it until it was happening to me. Once I had Delilah, it was kind of a 24-hour, 48-hour period where the hospital was like, okay, we've got you, we'll support you. After I left the hospital, there wasn't much support. I was still linked in with the social worker. I had, I think it was 10 sessions with her. And then it was kind of okay, off you go, kind of on your own now. And it wasn't until I think it was 6 months later that we found out the cause of why she passed away. But I think it was mainly the main thing that made it harder for me was not having support after the fact. Not every person, like not every pregnancy, not every family is the same. I think through seeing a lot of psychologists, it's a bit harder for them to understand that, some families, they continue to talk about their loss, they continue to talk about the baby that they've lost, celebrate birthdays as we celebrate Delilah's birthday every year. We do a family dinner, we do cake, we sing happy birthday. Not a lot of families do that, and I think it's important for psychologists to know that, some people don't want to do that. Some people want more than anything to do that and, carry on their baby's legacy, or continue celebrating the life that they would be having if they were still here. When a young person like myself has a stillborn, I think it's important for them to say, oh, for them to not say, oh, you're still young, that you have more opportunities to have a family. Going through a loss like that is the hardest thing I've ever done. And, it did deter me from wanting more children. I was with my pregnancy with my son. It was really hard to just enjoy the pregnancy because I was so scared of what would happen. Like, is it going to happen again? Like, am I going to lose this baby as well? And I had a lot of healthcare professionals say, oh, you're still young, like you can have another one, you can try again. And that was really difficult to listen to. Like, even with my youngest daughter, they're like, oh, you're still young, you can have another one. And we went through a lot with her as well. I did have an early miscarriage in between my eldest daughter Delilah and my son. And that was, I wouldn't say it was as hard as having a stillbirth, but it was still mortifying.